Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to HGC Korea. We had some exciting matches yesterday around the world. We saw some Medivh play.
A lot of Medivh.
Yeah, a lot of Medivh indeed. So I'm hoping to see some more today. My name is Wolf. With me is G Clef, and we're bringing you guys some coverage of some matches that might be a little bit less close. We might see a little bit fewer game 5s today than we saw yesterday, but who knows? Yesterday was pretty fun.
Well, it has to be less than less than the full sets that we had. We had 10 games last night, maximum amount of games. But tonight, I think we can kind of tell which teams are going to be the favorites going into each match.
Yeah. First match was going to be the former sister teams with KSP Black versus formerly MVP Miracle, now just known as Miracle. So a matchup that's happened basically since the beginning of time. And it'll be exciting to see if Miracle has improved, adapted during the off season. We saw that from Ace, especially yesterday. A lot of improvement, and exciting to see how much they changed their drafting style over the course of the few weeks in between the last week 5, basically, of part 1 and during the Clash phase.
Yeah, we still have 2 more days of the weekend to kind of tell what's the really the meta with the Medivh. Was it just yesterday, or it's happening all around the world, but Korea seems to be the region that's slowly adapting compared to the rest of the regions. So maybe it's going to take some time for them to adjust. Maybe Miracle will bring that Medivh just like Ace did last night and try to take maps off of KSP Black. And last time when they were going against each other, Miracle did not really stand a chance against Black.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Black looking to be back in form after their Eastern Clash. They didn't, of course, win the title. They got very close, and their role swaps have been doing a lot better than kind of their initial normal Rich Soul Laner setup that they had at the beginning of the season. At the end, they switched Rich back to range DPS, and it's been working a lot better.
Yep. And I've mentioned this before, and they had really a big problem for Sake, who used to be the mage. His Jaina didn't really work out. Falstad, it was a weird meta to put Falstad all the time, and Tastar was basically out of the meta, of course. So he is now the support, and it's been working out great. Of course, they did not become the champions of Eastern Clash, but still their performance was crazy. It was just one little mistake, little differences between the team, and Ballistics came on top, but still they were a very good team in the Eastern Clash.
Yeah, very much so. I feel like the level of play, the top 4 teams in Korea is getting closer and closer, and the bottom team's getting there. The level of play between KSV Black and Miracle, though, still, I think, a bit of a wider gap, shall we say.
The gap is certainly there, and I think unless they have something crazy planned in the draft, I think tonight is the best chance for Miracle to take maps off. Even if they want to take the series, they have to get it started with taking maps off. Like we saw in Inferno Shrines, Ace brought in the Medivh. I think because we saw that, I don't think they can have the exact same thing that Ace did. Maybe something else that works better for Miracle, because something like Cassia, which they like to run a lot more compared to all other Korean teams. And I'm pretty sure Black knows that, but they can still catch them off guard a little bit.
Well, certainly. There's a lot of things that teams can do right now during this kind of period of influx meta, with the Sonya rising back to power. Thrall is kind of on his last legs, but still seeing a lot of play. Yeah, Thrall, we saw him for a little while, but it's time to say goodbye already, I think.
I don't know when the next patch will be hitting. Possibly next weekend? I think that's a little too early.
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks from now. Probably.
With Phoenix joining in?
I think, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It hasn't been announced yet when Phoenix will be arriving in the Nexus. I'm hoping maybe in 2 or 3 days. He's already on the PTR, of course, but I mean,
of course.
Once he hits regular, then it's 2 weeks until he can be played.
Of course. And then I think it's the patch first, and then that Dragoon will be available the next following weekend. I think that's how it usually went. So I'm excited to see that patch coming in, because we always want to play in the live server. That's the most important thing.
Yep. So here's the overview. Everyone watching can read. Otherwise, if you can't read this overview, maybe it's time to go to school. Maybe not stay up all night watching HGC Korea. But yeah, it's the same overview we show you guys every day. So nothing has changed here. I always like to make jabs at the overview page that we show from day 1 until the last day of the playoffs. I'm yeah. So we've seen a lot of changes and adaptation throughout this season, but the overview page now, it's still the same as it was on day 1. It's not really showing a lot of adaptation. No roster swaps. No, the price wasn't changed. It's keeping it back to its old style.
Yep. Only the dates are different, and we do have playoff at the end, because it's the end of phase 1, and I think
Yep.
that's going to be something else. And we do have Crucible also. That's going to be, I think, a few weeks after the part 2 is over.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if it's officially announced yet, but it'll be obviously right afterwards in Korea. So here are standings. Tempest and Ballistics up at the top, fighting for that #1 spot. Ballistics just one map behind. They were almost tied. Literally one map win for Ballistics. Had they won their series yesterday, one map better, they would be tied in terms of map score. Obviously, they'd still have first place because they won the matchup. Actually, no, they'd be exactly tied because Tempest won in the first round robin. So we're like super closely matched up there. Now, KSV Black, when they do collide with Tempest and Ballistics, if they're able to take wins, could push up to the first place spot. But otherwise, that is the divide. For Miracle, they're still down at 6th place, as we were talking about beginning of this broadcast, and Feliz is just below them. They'll have a tough opponent in Blossom tonight.
Yep, as we talked about today's match all this long. Miracle versus KSP Black first match, and Blossom versus Feliz. And everyone who has been watching Korea can very well tell who are the favorites going in. KSP Black match 1, and Blossom back from the Eastern Clash match number 2. But the thing is, we saw yesterday a similar thing. What did the other teams that did not go to the Eastern Clash have prepared? What did they study? How are they adjusting to the meta? What do they think? Which hero is the best one right now? That will be the answers that they will be having. Miracle and Feliz will be going against the Eastern Clash teams back to back in match 1 and match number 2.
Yeah. I have to feel like Feliz will have a really cool drafting style prepared and will have adapted to the new meta because they're a newer team, which means that changing playstyles and drafting techniques is a lot easier to change than a team that's been around for a long time, like Miracle, for example, which I'm a little bit worried about how they're going to do in this new meta, especially because the hero pools of a lot of their players are very low, with the exception of Gunza, who's actually got quite a large one. But in terms of like tanks, DPS, supports, heroes like Medivh, like has anyone on Miracle ever played Medivh before? Maybe Sniper, but like not really looking like a lineup that can go into this newer meta.
Yeah, I think the main problem we pointed out oftentimes was Judy. Judy's hero pool, even when he was on tank, now he's a DPS, and it really becomes a mess when you have to move around the player who doesn't have the largest hero pool in the tank. And if that's the reason why you have to move a player and then make someone else who's actually good at the position and go to another position, that's how you can tell the team roster is just not working out at the moment. Maybe they had time, maybe they had lots of practice time, and I think it's going to be revealed very soon. But we have to wait until we open the box. But so far, before tonight's match, they have been struggling super hard for the entire phase #1, part #1.
I mean, realistically, they haven't performed well since 2016. They had a bad 2017, really bad, just narrowly avoiding relegation.
Their 2016 was awesome, actually.
Yeah, they got to
at the end.
Yeah,
too.
they got to the Gold Club World Championship finals, where they defeated by Ballistics. They made the round of 4 of Super League in season 3. Just one win away from actually going up against MVP Black in the Super League finals. There were a lot of opportunities for that team to continue to shine, but Black drew a lot of the talent away. And like Tist, for example, Reset were pulled from Miracle. So the team just got weaker as a result. They pulled in star ex-TNL players, and then they got Judy eventually. Honkono came from Tempest, Dami from Tempest. But it was just never the same after 2017 began. It just never really bounced back, unfortunately. So we'll see if they can make it happen. Speak of the devil, here they are. Jaehyun, of course, the ex-TNL player, these Malfurion specialist, Sniper as well, the flex player from TNL. Only 2 remaining TNL members on this roster. Everyone else has split. So we've got Judy, who's playing DPS now. And unfortunately for Judy, it hasn't worked out so well for him yet. Gunza, on the other hand, has looked fantastic on the DPS. Unfortunate that he has been relegated now to tank, but his tank play has looked pretty good. Is it as good as Judy's yet? No, but we're moving towards that direction, and like you said, like you pointed out, that we have several weeks of time for them to improve.
They had time. They had lots of time. Even Gunza, I think they still had time to work on lots of different stuff, because if they major on that position so well, they can teach their teammates. I think they have more than enough time. 5 weeks exactly, to actually get into their new position, really practice the heroes. I think that's at least 2-3 heroes that you can master if you put in a lot of time. I'm pretty sure they had their time and they can work on it against KSV Black tonight.
KSP Black coming off of the second place finish there in Eastern Clash. It was a winner's bracket lead they had. They had the initial win in that final spot, but were unable to take the best of 7 at the end of the day. Was defeated by Ballistics in that final game 7. So the rivalry between Black and Ballistics continues for which is the strongest Korean team. At the moment, with 2 losses to their name, KSV Black sits in 3rd place. But you can tell, if you compare stats, obviously with the 70% win rate, better KD, and fewer average deaths than Miracle. If you've never seen these 2 teams before, you'd know Black was the better team. But I feel like most people knows this name is. Let me think about this for a second. I think the longest standing Heroes of the Storm team that exists today, if you exclude Tempo Storm, which like disbanded several times, so I don't know if that counts. I think they're longest standing. I think they were formed right around the same time that Dignitas and Fnatic were formed. So like those 3 are probably the oldest teams with Tempo Storm that still are around today. But anyway, this team has obviously by far been the most successful team worldwide. Ballistics is about to pass them, I'd say. If they win one more title, if they win Midseason Brawl, that will definitely be the case.
I think the other teams are catching up, but several weaknesses that we saw back in Eastern Clash. They were near perfection until it's also a thing. Rich goes in for the lethal, but oftentimes it becomes an overextension. He thinks he can go in and make the kill, but because of his death, oftentimes Tusk also had to sacrifice for Rich oftentimes, and it just became a mess right after. And in terms of macro, they have been a lot slower. Their tempo is still fast, but because the other team's Tempest and also Ballistics, they have been focusing on macro so much more compared to before. KSP Black has been having a tough time whenever Rich overextended.
Well, we're headed to Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number 1 right now, with Braxis and Cursed Hollow removed. Cursed Hollow had been really on the downswing in terms of playtime. Was one of the most popular maps in Korea for all of Korean Heroes history, and was one of the go-to maps for both of these teams when they were sister teams. Was their best drafted map and best rotational map. They had been weaker against teams like L5, TNL in the past, and they struggled during those time periods, but the on like Dragonshire, for example, this was always the map they were able to dominate no matter what. So it's surprising we've seen KSV Black move away from that so much, not only here as they resume regular season play, but also in the Eastern Clash as well. So there's been a lot of talk about how Cursed Hall has become somewhat of a snowbally map because it's been figured out a lot and there's double bosses, but we head into the Genji priority here now on the side of KSV Black.
And Hanzo is still available, and let's see if Judy or even Sniper is willing to use that Hanzo, just like Ballistics really prioritized Hanzo over all the other heroes last night.
You have to be a world-class DPS player in order to play Hanzo, I think, in this meta, especially against a Genji. And if I had to, point at world-class DPS players on both rosters, all of these 10 players, I would say that currently today, Sniper and Judy are not on the list. Sniper would have been on the list years ago, and Judy's never been on the list. He's a novice DPS at best at this point because he's still learning the role. And they're going to take the Tracer approach instead. Tracer is obviously a DPS that requires a niche playstyle and someone who's very strong on the hero, but Hanzo requires just such great positioning that I feel like it's too much of a risk for this team to run it, and which is why Ballistics is the only team running it right now.
Yep, that's also why, and they do have their pair though. They got the CC, they have one of the best supports right now, Malfurion, that has been working out a few times, but it's going out of the trend now. It's becoming a little old. Tracer's still very strong. Of course, Patch will be hitting later on. Still very strong hero, as if you can get that focus, but it's Really, it will be really hard to get that focus if you have a tank like Johanna or Junkrat who can make his own escapes all the time.
You know, it's interesting that they're so willing to let the Uther go, and we've seen a lot of movement like this at the moment towards this sort of Utherless Genji play, and it hasn't been very successful. But KSV Black knows what they're doing, one of the best drafting teams in the world. I wonder what they will take with this on this map, because, you know, you can gain a lot from Rhaegar's wave control, you can gain a lot from Stukov's silence on this map with a really short distance between lanes. But only time will tell as they lock up Junkrat, one of Gunza's comfort picks, but he'll be playing the tank, I have to imagine, tonight, so that's not going to be a factor. Looking at who is Gunza going to be playing, though, he loved the Anubarak when he played his opening tank match a few weeks ago. The last televised match to him, there was a huge focus on the Anubarak. The Anubarak was solid. But it looks to be the Gyarados today, and here's our first Sonya of the night already here in Game 1.
Possibly thinking double support from KSP Black, just like that Karazim and Rhaegar.
Did not expect this.
Me neither. I was thinking mostly about Rhaegar or Stukov and possibly another pretty strong solo lane to finish it up. Like a Thrall, because Sonya is taken away, but they are going to go for something different, what they used to play a long time ago.
Yeah, and this is not the first time we've seen KSV Black take Junkrat as a solo laner on this map in particular, where it's kind of the solo lane is the least important out of any map in the pool. So we'll see a lot of rotation around. You could see a lot of lane swaps and rotations, but this is going to be a heavy wave clear composition. The Miracle's going to bring it back. They have Tastar available. They want to go all in into their Tracer. And on paper, I kind of like the composition of Miracle better. They have a lot of protection for Tracer. They have great Soul Laner, which has good wave clear. KSV Black doesn't have that factor. And KSV Black has a lot of pick potential in the early game with the damage they have. It's going to be a fun one, G-Clef. This is going to be a little bit different than what we've been seeing the past few weeks in Asia.
Double support feels like the end of 2017 or mid 2017 once more. And of course, Tastar, I do like the draft from Miracle a lot, especially with the fact there are some CCs and damage available in KSV Black. Now the shield and Tracer will have an easier time building that pulse bomb, also landing that pulse bomb into targets. Of course, it'll be a little tough onto Genji or Johanna to get the kills. But I think, except for those, I think onto Rhaegar Karazim, I think that's still possible to land that pulse bomb.
Yep. So we might actually be remaking this room. Seems to be a bug in the lobby or something like that, just based on reactions of referee running over and then menus being open.
Seems like the game is paused for
Yeah.
a second. We are in game, but it is paused.
It's like Sake's got an issue. He's like, I didn't lock in Karazim. I did not ask for this. He's like, this is a problem. He's like, we need to regame.
I don't want to play double support anymore. Please.
Yeah. The funny thing is that you know, this Tastar pick is so strong with Tracer, and it was so strong with the Tas Tracer Malfurion comps we saw when double support was still meta. But I think part of the reason why they locked it in was because they were severely lacking in wave clear compared to KSV Black, and they grabbed this Tastar. And now I feel like I could argue they have slightly better wave clear, because Tastar can really swing the pendulum quite rapidly in terms of wave clear, because the Psystorm is just so fantastic. It's 2 Psystorms later on in the game, double ways to interrupt turn-ins for gems, for example. So he's one of the big reasons why I actually kind of lean towards Miracle having the better draft.
Not just the double support, is Karazim himself alone is a very good counter against Tracer. And I think Tracer will have a hard time, so that's also a reason why they brought in Tastar, which is the perfect fit. Also, okay, Sake is having some audio issues, so that's why we're having the delay, but it should be fixed very soon. And I think, going back to my point, because of that Tastar fits, and you mentioned the wave clear, which they needed a little bit more, because Tracer basically has 0.02 wave clear, I would say.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, pretty slow. Who wins the wave clear, Genji or Tracer?
Uh,
That's a hard question, Wolf.
yeah, that
You
is
need
a
to be
hard.
a-
I'm
you need to
like,
be a
you
pro.
know, I think Tracer, because she doesn't have mana and
Like
she has
I'm
the
talking about like
melee.
level 1, like without any talents.
I don't know, man. I think I still want to say Tracer, but
Only
like,
Twitch chat will know. That
um,
is the best question for you guys.
that's I think the answer is they both lose actually. I think like neither of them wins.
They try to get the wave clear and the next wave comes.
They just
and
die
then
to the minions actually. Like that's what
the
happens.
Winians. That's what happens. Oh man.
Um,
Right as we are ready to
you know,
jump into game 1,
you
we get the
know,
pause.
when Tracer, you played Tracer in Overwatch, right? And it
Mhm.
feels so satisfying when like you headshot someone, like you get on the back line, you get a Zenyatta, you just kill him, blow him up instantly. We don't even have to talk about the pulse bomb. You just kill that guy so instantly. Tracer killing minions and heroes is like, I guess the closest thing you could put it into Overwatch terms is like killing the training dummy, but it like takes a while still, and you're like,
You need to get super close.
yeah, there's like a lot of them you have to get close, and like the training dummy dies, or like you kind of messed up because you weren't like perfect position, you didn't have enough ammo, so you couldn't like one clip the training dummy, and you're like reloading, then you have to kill the training dummy, then you're like, oh, I have to kill the next minion, but I don't have enough ammo now because I'm a little bit out of sync. You have to
Mhm.
melee it, you're reloading, and it's just a bad time.
The Tracer is super hard on Overwatch, and I do like hit scan, but it's really hard to get in close. Sometimes you get CC'd and you die instantly. That's how I feel like whenever I play Tracer in Heroes and also Overwatch. So not the best hero that I play.
I did
But
not play Tracer in Overwatch. I'm really bad.
what's your best hero on Overwatch though?
Probably right now Moira, I'd say, and
Ooh,
Soldier 76. Those are the two I've been working on. My
Soldier
main,
76.
yeah, well, main was Lucio, and then
Okay.
I wasn't really carrying my game, so when Moira came out, I was like, let me try this hero. I was like, wow, this is like really similar to Lucio, but like way better, and like I don't have to aim because she
Mhm.
kind of like tethers her right click and getting a lot of kills. People try and dive me, and then I started playing Soldier sometimes because sometimes you just need to do some more extra damage. But we're going to this game. Goons is on the garage, as we expected. So it'll be Sake on the Karazim as expected as well. That was really the real reason for the pause. The referees wouldn't let him change his hero. I mean, he paused because he didn't want to play Karazim, but it's too bad. He's going to have to do it. We got that new dog mount in the game for Year of the Dog. It's pretty cool. I haven't actually unlocked it yet myself, but I like it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Players all have all the unlocked accounts, and they will be having. They can use anything that they want to, but still they use a lot of the pleb horse.
They just forget. When you see the pleb horse, I think sometimes what I think when I see the pleb horse in pro games is, okay, he like picked this here kind of on the fly. He wasn't expecting to play this one.
Ooh, that's not the way you want to go, Tis. But let's see if that's enough damage. Does not survive, and that's gonna be a trade though for one for one.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating for Tist to be picked off in such a way. But it's still a pretty even game as everyone's just going to run back to lane right away with the respawns coming through. So in terms of laning, it is the solo matchup between Junkrat and Sonya. Obviously Junkrat destroys the matchup. Doesn't have as much camp clearing power, and isn't used really on other maps because of that. Oh, that pulse bomb went wide big time.
Yeah, that's if you try to let that pulse bomb onto a Genji, that's usually what happens. But gladly for Sonya went with the slam, so she's gonna have a better wave clear. Not going to have as much as hard time, but still against Junkrat it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
But just wave clear, get that EXP soak, and then look for your rotation to punish Junkrat.
So if you're a ranged solo laner and you're playing solo queue, the thing that you want to spend time on is actually spending all of your auto attacks onto the enemy hero to push them out of range of the minions. Then you can clear the wave right afterwards. So that's the kind of go-to. So you can see Sonya springs back in to clear the minions, but then has to leave when the trades go bad. And if you watch the health bars at the top of the screen, you'll tell she goes low, whirlwinds the minions, goes back in. And as long as Junkrat isn't trying to clear a wave and then leave, he's always going to be trading with Sonya positively to push her back. This isn't a super impactful matchup in this game, and it's quite rare again to see the Junkrat as a solo laner. It's really only KSV Black running that at the moment, and specifically usually on this map. So KSV Black looking for a turn in here. They already have the lead in gems deposited. Grab that dimensional shift there from Tassler. That's a great trade here for KSV Black.
For a Search Strike, that's a great one, of course, but Junkrat's getting some damage. I believe Also, seems like Tracer did not throw in the pulse bomb. Still available. Judy's looking for that angle. Castor is getting harassed. No shift this time.
Yep, it's going to be another pick here for KSV Black because of that cooldown burning earlier of the shift. Junkrat rotated up, so had to go back down to clear the wave, but once he's here, they are just about ready to complete this turn, and they're missing 10 gems. But you can see 7 of them are about to be grabbed here. Well, not exactly 7, only the spider butts coming in. Not full, you know, minions have 7 waves, or 7 minions in a wave, but God, I'm falling apart here. I think there's 3 spider butts in a wave. Yeah, 3 spider butts, and that's what the gems are. They're actually the.
Hey Wolf, let me be honest. I think you're eating too much vegetables. You need meat before you go before we start casting.
Look, there's 3 of them right there. Look at the gems. They're the butts of the spider right there.
Okay.
Look, this is commonly known, Z-Club. This is not like this is not like a secret. This is not like the first time anyone's finding out about this. I think it's called a thorax officially. So, your pick here onto Rich, he actually had to use his deflect early. Blind's trying to save him, but too much damage. Sonya's going to connect there and blow him up. Pulse Bomb's coming through here as well, and this is not a good look for KSP Black. They were so close to having that turn in. Concussive Mine here. Will it save Tist? Oh, Iron Skin's going to help him get right through that root. That was almost a disaster.
Great save by Reset right there. And Judy, look at him fly around the map with that Astar shield. He looks like a different man on that Tracer. We were not really impressed when he first started playing Tracer with the role swap since he moved from the tank, but today he seems like another Tracer player for the team. It fits the comp. I think he's doing fine. Missed a couple of pulse bombs, but still he's pressuring into the back line. That's what he needs to do all the time.
Yeah, the threat has been real, and those picks allow them to get the first turn in despite being down on gems, despite not having control of the actual turn-in point. Jaehyun is the target here. Finally, KSV Black really with good focus firing here, using this Karazim comp, the double support that has so much extra damage to get potential picks here. Great mine onto Gunzo. He's got a lot of armor though. They need to switch targets here, I feel. Okay, well, they grab him. Rich barely gets that reset. Almost ended up being a trade. The problem is they're getting picks right now during the web weaver phase, and they're not killing the web weavers themselves, so this is actually doing a lot more damage, I think, than it necessarily needed to do. But because they got the picks, they at least keep the experience even, but in terms of structures, Miracle gets a big win out of this one.
Yep, and they need that wave clear also. They are holding in so many gems, so they can't be dying at all, and they need to turn that in right away. Gladly, Miracle, they actually lost the lane super hard, especially the bottom one that you're watching right now. So it will take a long time for them to bring down the structures to get that level 10. And KSV Black has been doing a better job of soaking wave.
Some of those legendary pulse bombs.
But I do like the fact that Judy's actually trying to stick that onto Genji every single time. Of course it's failing, but oftentimes you don't even try because you know it's not going to work. But if you don't try, you never know.
Yeah, that's just good life advice as well, G-Club. Gotta get out there and try it, man.
I know you can't just sit at home and watch Twitch all day.
Yeah.
You gotta go. You gotta actually learn and go to Hero League and play.
That's right. So, 10 around the corner for KSV Black. 75 gems held. Gonna look for a fight potentially. That 10 locked in. 7-sided strike immediately locked in. Not even a discussion. Not even a choice. As Reset will get blown up here. No deflect for Junkrat. It's a lot of gems lost, actually. I think about 15 to 20 there. Taunt committed to, though, as Gunza grabs 10. But they will not be able to get... Oh, hold that thought. I was going to say that we're not going to be able to prevent the turn-in, but they do, in fact, with the Psystorm.
And the Storm, and Junkrat, I think, was holding 20+ gems himself. Because he was solo laning the entire time. He had the most gems of all the teammates of KSV Black. Lost a lot. They do have enough. But it would have been close to back-to-back turn if they had another chance to do so. Okay, Reset is back now. They have some pokes. Just taking a lot of damage in the front line, though.
Yeah, he uses Iron Skin well. Problem is they give up so much positioning with this. They do sneak the turn in throughout all of this. I think Rich was the one who got that one in. But again, it's a lot of close calls here for this team, where we're seeing Miracle actually use this Tracer comp to threaten picks more often. You were saying, you know, it's tough to get kills onto Genji. It's certainly true, but if you know his deflect is off cooldown, then hold that thought. We're gonna see another kill here. Riptire committed just to secure it. If you know that deflect is off cooldown, you should throw those pulse bombs out. And Miracle has been consistently the team threatening kills more often than Black. Now Black is going to look for picks again. This time it's during their web weaver phase, so not only do they get these kills, but their web weaver push gets stronger as a result. Last time they lost some structures because they were the ones being aggressive during their defending phase, but now while they're attacking, they're trading it back. So the point I just made about, you know, KSP Black being less successful in picks, less successful in threatening kills, I think just became untrue. It's just changed with this last grabbing of 2 kills with this web weaver push.
It was going to be a trade with one. Regard died off screen in the mid lane. Was ganked and could not really escape, but he's back now. Has that Ancestral available still, and the web weavers are still pushing. The Junkrat is solo pushing the bot lane, and they hit 13 before. So they have actually managed to push into the fort, hold on to that thought. 7 strike onto Garrosh. Perfect damage will just break through that armor.
7-sided strike really good against Garrosh. Just any tank that gets isolated, and Garrosh specifically doesn't have any escape, so not getting out of that very easily. So they grab 2 forts. 3rd fort is basically theirs for the taking whenever they want it. They're going to head up here and grab it right now. So Miracle, they've got enough gems for a turn-in, but KSV Black has map control now, and as a result will try to prevent that. They don't have the same consistent sort of delay tactics that Miracle has. They don't have Psystorm, for example, but they do have Genji. Barely hitting H82 here. They're going to have a bigger commitment if they do want to stop this turn-in and look for a double back-to-back. They are successful.
And Miracle, because they lost a lot of their forts, actually all the forts, right? Yeah, they have to be forced back out. They are feeling that pressure. They are not even 13 yet. They don't even know where the Junkrat was until the camp was taken on the bot lane. Bad news for Miracle. They will be pushed a lot more when they need that extra wave clear even now.
They have this giant push that's hitting the keep wall, and KSV Black is consistently making it look like they're threatening to grab like a keep wall, for example. Look at what they're doing here. Actually even going to maybe take a fight here, 3v5. 3v4, Tastar staying mid. They're rotating down now. Basically tricking Miracle, drawing them out, then rotating in. Good concussive mine again here onto Gunza. He's the target. Does escape with all that extra armor, the 36. But this big story here is top web weavers continue to push, while this one is well supported by Siege Giants.
Get that lens from the double support, and even Iron Skin used for that pulse bomb is basically wasted right there.
Yeah,
Going
this
in
is
a
still
little more.
such a great trade for KSV Black so far, and they are knocking on this keep's door. More like battering ramming it at this point.
It becomes so hard because Tassa's all the way up. Storm is only available in one lane. They're going in. They can't lose anymore. They can't be losing the keep in 11 minutes.
HA2, the target here, blown up. Ancestral will help save Rich here, who's on his retreat. Slowed here by Tastar, but does get out. Tist will have Iron Skin again in just a moment. So much extra heals coming through from Karzeem. Well, they are all grouped up. There's the Iron Skin, and they are going to be able to get away. They did not kill the keep, but they damaged it significantly. The top push as well gets the wall for free because it's forced a 5-man reaction from formerly KSV Miracle. Or sorry, formerly MVP. Wow, now we're going full circle here. You and I get to cast this series 4 times a year, and this is our second one, but I'm still forgetting, you know, it's no longer sister teams, just the former sister teams.
And no longer MVPs. Both of them, KSP Black and Miracle. It was a 2-level gap. It was like 1.2-ish level gap. Now it's over 2-level gap just because all the walls are destroyed. And this, in fact, actually creates so much black in the map that Miracle can't really contest to go outside of their comfort zone here. They do have, gladly they still have all the keeps, and they do have a lot of their gems. They didn't really give too many kills away, so they're holding a lot of gems. They can turn that in, but it takes a lot of the wave clear. They need to pressure all the lanes first, and then make sure they have some vision, some sight, before they turn this in. Rich is watching all this all the time.
Yep, just going to continue to interrupt just like last time. And because the team is rotating down, he's not risking. And yes, as you see, a miss. Look at this Blessed Shield of the Condemn. And Dragon's Blade coming out here now as well. No Twilight Dream for the interrupt. In fact, they didn't even take it. They went for the Tranquility this game, and Malfurion's dead regardless. This is going to be virtually a wipe here. Only Tassadar with his Dimensional Shift gets away. Boss is going on top keep into the core. KSV Black just needs to decide how they want to end the game. They're all going to tap, you can imagine, head to finish the game with their next push.
Well,
they're a little bit indecisive. They decide to take the Nightcap instead. Happy enough with this keep and the control they already have over this game. I feel like uncharacteristic of Black here to play this very safe.
I think they realize that they have so much more of a lead and they can get closer to 20 very soon. They will also have enough gems soon. Only 21 more. So I think they're taking this one slow. And also in the last team fight, the only thing that really... I will actually highlight how Judy did in that last team fight. He was actually making an escape, saw reset, and then landed the pulse and actually got the trade kill himself. But everything else for Miracle was terrible, but that Tracer play was actually pretty awesome to watch.
Savage G-Clef tonight. Well, they decided to play this the safer way. They set up a push to try to grab bottom keep. And that's exactly what they're looking for here. Guns is gonna get a multi-stun, but KSV Black doesn't actually get the setup they were looking for in this the Siege Giant push they wanted to grab to help secure this keep. Just simply not going to work out, but the top pressure is mounted, and that's obviously what an early keep advantage is going to do for you when you're KSV Black. You have this advantage, you can utilize it to draw members of Miracle away to deal with those catapults. Sake looking to grab a target here. Here comes the Riptire.
Oh,
they zoning
rip
shield.
Zoning Riptire. No, never mind, not anymore. But already so much damage onto Tassadar, has to shift away. There's a taunt, and the Pulse Bomb will not get a kill onto Sake. That's a lot of damage, basically soaked for Karazim.
Yeah, that was actually a little bit sloppy by KSV Black. They put the Riptire out super early, then they saved it to make sure that the shield had worn away before blowing up on Tracer, but the rest of the team was just not in position to capitalize. Now, Reset has to eat this Ancestral. Concussive Mind's used again for peeling, but this is absolutely a fantastic trade for Miracle. The only problem is that their core is under attack, so they can't keep chasing without getting kills. The longer this goes on for KSV Black, they're going to gain value in that top lane. Now going to prevent these backs. Rich is going in. The core still has shields, but we're getting to a risky place here the longer this goes on.
And they are pushing out, actually, after tapping onto the fountain, they are actually pushing out. Gunda's getting very low. Gets that shield with a taunt. Is it going to connect? That's a trade for now. The Pulse Bomb does hit, but not enough to get another kill. Judy's onto the target. Next one is Reset going down. Miracle is actually turning this one around. Rich still survives, but not for a long time. Kyocha does manage to escape. Can Rich turn this around alone? I don't think so.
Not by himself, not in this case. Not even having the Dragon Blade. Could try to delay turn-ins here, but this is really risky. Does get a successful delay, but I think it's going to be the last one they really can do, just simply because there's too much against him. Obviously, there's too much of a risk to try to grab this. The big stacked up minions up here that they've been prepping for a while, especially with that bottom push with the Siege Giants, still shouldn't be enough to kill this keep. Tassadar are going to come down here clear and even shield the keep. Even with this next wave here, should be totally fine. They grab Web Weavers, and this is going to help them catch up to 20. However, they need to be careful about how they push this because KSV Black's going to have 20 first, and they have been super aggressive all game long. They've been looking to punish overextensions from Miracle. So this, I think, best case scenario of this push is going to help knock down supports to catch up to 20 to put the rest of the game even. See, Sonya is capitalizing on, or sorry, not capitalizing, focusing on the top lane to help deal with the catapults while also pushing, grabbing that extra experience.
Yeah, they have so many structures to go through, which means extra experience for Miracle. Actually, they get all the forts. I think they will not be, they won't be 20. I think they'll be close to 20 if they get even, but they're not really pressuring in. They feel the pressure. Black is 20 now. They have to go rotate to the bottom lane, try to look for that fort.
Yeah, this is basically Miracle just trying to make sure they get the most out of this in terms of experience, but they're not going to overextend pre-20, doing exactly as you said. Look at their rotation back as well, taking the long way back to mid, because they know that if they overextend, it could be the end of them in this game. I believe boss should be up in the next minute or so. Actually, it just came up right when I said it. I knew it was coming up pretty soon. So they have posture towards the top of the map, which is cool for them because it allows them to deal with the catapult but also threaten boss. After seeing KSV heading towards mid though, they rotate away from it, grab this night camp. There's still not 20 yet. KSV, it looks like they are going to grab this turn-in. I think that's actually only 6, but yeah, Rich will turn in at the same time, so they will get the full job here done. And right now, Miracle's best chance of winning this game is getting a team wipe against Web Weavers. It's going to be tough, G-Clef, maybe impossible.
Maybe impossible, so they have to... Sonya's on the top lane, try to soak in some extra EXP in the meantime because they are close. They can get to that level 20 with few more waves. But Black's not going to give that chance. The Web Weavers are coming to keep still alive, but this is going to be the last chance for Miracle. They have to get some picks off or at least soak in for 20 as soon as possible. They're keeping all 5 right here.
Yeah.
Which means slower EXP gain.
Tist comes in, gets the grab onto Gunza, but it's not the target he really wanted to grab. They want to get, if they can, Judy or Jaehyun. Baiting out the ice block would be the first step. Then they can commit heavily in because they have 2 aggressive supports here that can add a lot of extra damage. They're playing it slow, they're playing it safe because they know that the Web Weavers are eventually all going to be hitting the core. Top one's already there. And now they're going to rotate towards the bottom. It looks like, well, it looked like they were going to, but just getting caught here a little bit. Tist having to back away.
Miracle does not have too much time. The bottom one will be destroyed. There's a 7-sided strike onto Gunza. Will survive.
Good taunt here, but Indestructible is going to save Tist for now. Looks like just one more heal coming through for Kyocha keeps him alive. Web Weavers have to be dealt with. The core is going down rapidly, but they have enough damage to stop this. But KSV Black could just threaten an all-in on it. 55%. No Indestructible for Johanna. I think this is the safer move. Just back away. Look for a better team fight later. You've always got backdoor potential, and you have 2 lanes of catapults now to support that as well.
Hey, not the best game for Miracle, I would say, but it is still one of the better games. And they have been choking a lot, especially towards the end game. If they were the old Miracle, like the beginning of 2018, I think they would have lost the game already. But this already shows me lots of promising plays. Their shot calling, they knew at that timing if they went in, the core was going to survive. But let's see, KSP Black pressuring a little bit more. Not even on 20, only one level apart, but still they hit that 20, still having 1 key left, and the lanes are not too far apart, so they can keep up with that wave clear.
Now they have Tastor, they have double Psystorm now as well, so there's a lot of ways to deal with the lane pressure, but the problem is the elephant in the room. The core under attack by catapults every few waves. They do end up grabbing onto this core. Forcing rotations like this means KSV Black gets set up on boss. They're not going to start it. In fact, they're even going to look for a safer collapse here. They're not going to try to fight on the boss pit against this composition. But basically, Black has, I think, realized at some point that they can't lose this game if they don't take a fight. Tist is going to eat that pulse bomb here, which means no burst damage now on the side of Miracle. Gunza is going to go down. And this is basically the beginning of the end here now for Miracle. Dragon Blade for Rich here doing a lot of damage. It's unlimited Dragon Blade post 20. Riptire adding a little bit of extra damage. This fight though, the longer it goes on, those catapults in the bottom lane are going to eventually start taking out the core. Sake survives. But Miracle, they need to win this fight now. They don't have time, and I think this is just simply going to be the end of the game.
Team fight, I wouldn't say it was over, but it was basically decided the moment HDC threw in that Johanna. It's not a DPS, not a support. Why throw in the Johanna? I think it was very rushed. It was a very rushed shot call. They had to open the team fight somehow, so he had to do it. But of course, not the best way you want to look at it.
Yeah, that was one problem. Another problem was that Gunza kind of got into a position where he was going to go down and there was no way out. And from that moment on, like, they couldn't retreat from the team fight and they couldn't win the team fight either. So they tried to win the fight and they actually had a lot of good moments for sure. Especially the focus fire onto Johanna after the pulse bomb went through. Indestructible should have still been on cooldown for a few more seconds, so getting that pick might have turned things. The problem was that, like, even if they won the fight, it would have taken them so long that they would have lost so much health on their core by the catapults and would have lost the game anyways. And if they tried to retreat to stop the catapults, they would have been prevented from doing so. So it was kind of a catch-22 situation there. That's why getting those early keeps is so important. Look at the siege damage. We talk about wave clear. Siege damage for Tastar, nearly 200,000 to even better than Junkrat's at 180. So that's the kind of numbers that Tastar brings to you, and I think that's one of the reasons why they did draft him there at the end. Obviously, he's great with Tracer. We've always seen these Tastar, Malfurion Tracer comps do really well, but such a huge impact into the game.
Yeah, but notice how much damage Johanna took at the bottom. 102,000. Herself alone. And compare that to Sonya plus Garrosh. And combine that, if you combine them two, it's about 160. But Johanna only died 2 times in that game. And she was focused mostly, Pulse Bomb, also landing on her face oftentimes, but only dying 2 times. Tis really back in the form, really continuing to become the shield of KSP Black once again. And Miracle played a lot better than expected. But KSP Black just taking it slowly. I think they were really passive in game number 1 compared to what we would have expected. But still a very good game from both sides, and KSP Black took game number 1.
Yeah, very scrappy game, shall we say. But I think we learned a lot about what KSP Black is thinking at the moment, especially on this map. Saw a lot of them running, a lot of games of them in Eastern with Junkrat on this map as the solo laner. And double support, I've always really liked it, but looking for aggressive double supports, they locked it in instantly. They were very confident about this draft. But I think what they probably learned was that this is not actually as successful as they planned. This was not the result they were looking for. They wanted to dominate this game in a more clean fashion, and they were outplayed in a lot of ways. And the Tracer composition with Tastar as the final pick made it a lot more difficult to get those kills coming through with the Rhaegar, with the Kharazim, that kind of very aggressive double support line that can do a lot of damage. So don't know if we'll be seeing any more double support from them. I think this was kind of a Tomb of the Spider Queen-esque draft from them. So now the big question for me is, where does Sonya lie? Do they draft Sonya for their solo laner on a bigger map? Do